Welcome to the Jake Brown podcast. Thank you, everyone who is tuning in, who is downloading, who has subscribed, who has given a 5-star review or a 4-star review or even a 3-star. You know what? Regardless of how many stars you have given this show, I appreciate you. I would rather have honest feedback than smoke blowing up my ass and you telling me something that I don't necessarily need to hear, but something that I want to hear. So don't do that. I welcome all feedback. If you want to text me, if you have my number, I'm not going to give my number out here, but if you have my number and you want to text some constructive criticism, don't be like, yeah, your fucking show sucks, bro. Like, tell me why it sucks and I'll work on it. I'll try to fix it, try to make it better. Or if there's something you want more of, let me know what that is. I'll try to incorporate it more into the show. This show's evolving, you know? It's changing, it's fluid. Like Bruce Lee, be water, my friend, you know? We're always changing. Such is life. We are always changing. And this show is going to change as I get more comfortable as, I decide maybe I don't like the format and I just want to give something the axe. I don't know. We'll just kind of see where things go. All right. A little update on the Google podcast platform. Apparently, they are getting rid of all of their podcasts. So they have made a way, I guess, to kind of funnel things over to YouTube. I guess YouTube has a podcast section. So I'm in the process of trying to get stuff uploaded to YouTube. It takes a couple days, like everything, because they have to verify that I'm a real human and not like a Russian bot or something trying to infiltrate our security secrets, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Like I'm a person, YouTube. Just accept my little profile application and let me start getting my content on your platform. I'm not a bot. I have no interest in national security secrets. I just want to come on this podcast and blab my mouth a little bit and hopefully make all of my followers out there smile a little bit or not. I don't know. Maybe you're just angry and no matter what anyone says, you will never smile. You know what? That's okay too. You know, we all get like that sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. So that's why I'm kind of doing this show. I mean, mainly I'm doing it because it makes me happy, but if I can make other people out there smile, that's just like icing on the cake. All right. Uh I feel like yesterday's show needs a part 2, okay? It's weird. It's like, I do research, for like the topics that I want to talk about and like I take notes and then I try to discuss all of the points that I jot down, and then inevitably I'm laying at bed at 2 in the morning when I can't sleep and more shit is popping into my head and I'm like, "Oh man, why didn't I talk about that on the show?" And I think one thing I really wanted to talk about and I just totally dropped the ball yesterday, uh, and it's regarding the technology in sports and all that stuff, and how it's helped us, how it's hindered us, blah blah blah. It's okay for us as mere mortals. We're not the pro athletes. Okay, there's no guidelines for us to use technology to our benefit. All right, if you can find a shoe that's going to help you run faster, buy the fucking shoe and use the shoe and run as fast as you can. Okay? You're not cheating. You're not cheating. by getting the best equipment possible. In the same way that you're not cheating if you use massage therapists to help you get healthy so you can continue kicking ass out there. If there's technology that is available to us to use, I feel like we should all be using it. All of us. I just bought another new pair of running shoes. They are way better than the other new pair of running shoes that I have. I don't even want to wear the other new running shoes. They, they suck compared to these new ones. These new ones are actually trying to make me run faster than I want to run. I'm going to say that again. They're literally trying, they're forcing me, and I am having to restrain myself from running faster because I have a plan that I do when I run. I stay within a certain time frame, per mile. I stay between 9 to 10 minutes. I do not go slower than that, and I do not go faster than that. I stay in that window, usually about 9:30 a mile, all right? And I have my reasons for it. Maybe I'll talk about that. So there's a theory, and I'll get back to, why we should be using all the technology we can as mere mortals. But let me go off on this little tangent. I'm trying something a little different. In the past, when I've done my runs, I can run at about between a 7 and an 8-minute mile, and I've done 8 miles at that pace. It's hard for me to do that. My body's not set up for running long distance, okay? Um, but I can maintain that pace. Well, I recently was, listening to a former bodybuilder, and he was talking about cardio and what he did for cardio, and instead of typically what cardio is doing is, burning the energy, burning burning the energy out of your muscles as opposed to burning the fat that we store in our bodies as energy, okay? And his theory was if you keep your cardio at a conversation pace, you're going to burn the fat as opposed to burning the energy directly from your muscles. And when you look at this dude's body, the guy was phenomenal. He was probably ahead of his time. He was a bodybuilder back in the 60s and 70s, and I get it. I'm not discounting the fact that when you get to that level, you're not using steroids. All right, obviously, those that level of professional bodybuilding, they are all juicing. Okay, all those guys are juicing, and if you think they're not, you're fooling yourself. They're all juicing. All right. But it doesn't mean one, you can't just not put the work in. All right. Steroids aren't going to make you work harder. All right. Steroids aren't going to burn fat for you. The steroids are allowing you to recover faster so that you can then do more work than you would be otherwise capable of doing. All right. So his theory was if you keep your cardio to a conversation pace, in other words, if you're running and you can't just have a conversation with someone that might be running with you because you're, out of breath or you're working too hard, dial it back. Get it to where you can have a conversation. So I'm thinking, man, that almost seems too good to be true. Like that almost seems too easy. And I'm not saying like, oh, like I have a bunch of fat on my body that I need to shed, but I was just kind of curious. Like, look, we all have, I think to a certain extent, all of us, regardless of how others may view us, how we view ourselves, we're going to be way harsher. And I think we all have, to a certain extent, a little bit of body dysmorphia. I 100% do. There are parts of my body that I can look at, and no matter what, I'm never going to be happy. Now, I know some of you out there are going to say, "Oh, it's probably your calves because they're not there." Well, okay. Look, fuckers, I have made peace with my undersized calves. All right. They're not going to get any bigger. Uh, it's just, I've tried, I have done so many calf raises over the course of my life. They're not growing. Short of me doing steroids and getting calf implants, that's about the only way that I'm getting calves. Okay. I definitely have distance runner calves. I was a sprinter in high school and in college. I was a sprinter, very much a sprinter. Like my thighs and my hamstrings, that's a whole different ball game. All right, I'm packing some beef there. But you get below the knees, there ain't no beef down there, baby. I'm packing chopsticks. And I'm okay with that now. All right? I'm okay with that. Those of you out there who like to poke fun at me, just know it doesn't get under my skin. I can roll with the punches. I can take jokes about my chicken calves. It's okay. But there are other parts of my body that, from a very young age, I have not ever been happy with. And try as I might, I could never really do anything about them. Okay. And I don't think that that's unusual. I think that a lot of people think that way. It doesn't mean that other people see what I see, but I see myself very differently than other people see me. And I don't feel like that's unusual. I feel like most people are probably that way. And just like I see other people and think, damn, like he or she, they have a perfect body, you know? Like I would love that aspect. I wish I could sculpt my body to look like that. But inside their head, they're probably thinking, "Man, I wish I could change this. I wish I could change this." Whatever the body part is, we all have something that, we would probably like to alter. So, I decided to try this little conversation cardio method. And when I go for my runs now, and I run maybe, I don't know, I definitely don't run enough. Um, but I definitely do enough cardio throughout the week that I can kind of control the intensity for what I'm doing. But when I do run, when I'm in that 9 to 9:30, that 9 to 9:30 range, 9-minute 30-second range. When I'm in that range, that's a good conversation pace for me. And I can do that pace almost for what feels like indefinitely. Okay, side note to my now side note. Uh, when I was in Berlin with my friends and we were watching Amy Hebert absolutely kick the shit out of the Berlin Marathon, she was so fast. We were on the Lime scooters. We couldn't even keep up with her. We were having a hard time we're tracking her progress on our phones. We couldn't even keep up with her. We were like cutting blocks and cutting the course to try to get in front of her. We missed her again. And there were so many people. It was unbelievable. Tens of thousands, tens upon tens upon tens upon 20s of thousands of people were at the Berlin Marathon. It was fucking bananas. So that was part of it. Like you couldn't just, cruise at 20 miles an hour through a sea of people. Like it would have been an absolute disaster. But when we finally got in front of her and we were kind of closer to the finish line, we saw her run by. Man, it was so exciting uh, to see her running in that race, to see all the people who were screaming and cheering and all the different countries that were represented. all the different nationalities, um, all the different body types. Like when you think runners, you think, oh, like they're all just runners. Like, and there's short people, there's tall people, there's skinny people, there's big people, there's muscly people. We saw people in wheelchairs that were going. Um, all kinds of people were out there kicking ass in that race. And for a brief moment, I thought, man, could I run a marathon? That's essentially the response that my friends gave me. I think they had to remind me how far a marathon was. And it wasn't just, you know, did I wonder if I could run it? I'm kind of stubborn, all right? And when I look at any sport, I immediately think, "Oh, I can do that." So my thing was, can I just go run a marathon? I'm going to say that again. Can I just go run a marathon without training? That's right. I was not going to train. I think I can just go do it. I still kind of think that. Based on this pace that I'm doing now, I mean, I kind of think I could just go run a marathon. I know. It sounds more ridiculous the more I say it. And now I'm putting it out there into the universe. So, like, now do I have to go do a marathon? I don't know. It's probably a horrible idea. Like, it's probably one of my top 5 worst ideas that I've ever had. Not training and just going and running a marathon. Really, the most I run now is like 5 miles at a time. The most I've ever done is 8.5, but I was pushing myself harder on the 8.5. I could not run the pace that I ran at that 8.5 mile. The pace I was going, I could not do that for a marathon. But this pace now, 9.5 minutes a mile, 10 minutes a mile, I think I could do that. I think I could do that. Let me know what your thoughts are. Find me on Twitter/X and on Instagram at Jake Brown Pod. Let me know. Is this like one of the worst ideas that you've ever heard? Not training for a fucking marathon and then just going and running? I mean, the way my body is now, I almost have to run a mile just to get warmed up before I run a mile. My Achilles are always sore. Granted, I have little itty bitty calves. They still get sore. Oh, it's just so much pounding and jarring on your hips, your back. I mean, your neck and your shoulders start to hurt. I mean, the more I'm saying this, the more this is really just a terrible idea. But on some level, I kind of think I could do it. I kind of think I could do it. I don't think I'd do it twice. I think it would be a one and done. And honestly, I think I would do the Capital City Marathon here in Olympia because the route goes right past my house. And if I decided to quit, I would literally just go home. I would just, I would just go home. I mean, I can't think of a better way to quit a race other than just having it be right in front of your house. And I just hang a left and I just walk inside and I go and I lay down in the bathtub and just turn on some warm water and I just pass out. That's the best way to quit any activity right there. I can't think of a better way to quit any activity other than it's right in front of your house and you just stagger inside and pass out. I'm going to keep thinking about it. You know, I'm very stubborn. Okay. I'm very, very stubborn. Now I gotta try to think since I took a detour and then I took another detour off the detour, uh, I know I was talking about Amy kicking butt in this marathon. I'm gonna go all the way back though to before my first detour. Um, if there's technology out there, oh, I know what I was talking about. My conversation pace and my body dysmorphia. how did I, how did I forget that? I'll have to tell my therapist about that. Uh, I've been trying this, so I've been doing this now for maybe 2 weeks, and I gotta be honest, uh, the places on my body where I personally, in my own crazy mind, was seeing my, my fucking my made up issues, I feel like I'm almost seeing a little bit of progress to what I consider progress. All right? So maybe there is something to this whole conversation pace cardio. Uh, maybe there is a little bit of method to this person's theory. Okay, I mean, if it worked for a professional bodybuilder who is absolutely jacked, then there's no reason it couldn't work for us mere mortals. So try it if you like, or don't try it. Like I'm cool with whatever. I feel like we should all try different things now and then. All our bodies react different to different stressors, and what works for one person may not work for another. But I feel like for me, this is maybe slowly starting to work just a little bit. And just in case anyone is out there wondering, uh, I do not have any eating disorders. I eat plenty of food. I get enough protein. I do get carbs. I eat vegetables. I'm getting enough calories in my day to keep me at the weight that I care to be at right now. Does anybody else have this issue? As I get older, I find that my weight fluctuation is much, much, much more sensitive, to like how many calories I'm eating. Like I can really control my weight so much easier now as I get it's oddly kind of bizarre because I know like as we age, our metabolism slows, hormones are changing, our bodies are changing. Um, It's definitely easier to put weight on as we get older, and, as we get older and our metabolism slows, we should be consuming fewer calories in general. Not a lot, but, you have to adjust a little bit. Think of it like a teeter-totter, okay? Your metabolism slows down, you gotta take some calories off the other side of the teeter-totter to keep yourself balanced out a little bit. But I find that as I'm getting older, it's almost easier for me to control my weight, you know? It's like I know exactly how much I need to eat now to keep myself at my target weight. And I know that if I eat a little bit more is going to equal 5 pounds consistently, you know? And it will bump my weight up and I'll be 5 pounds heavier consistently. And I keep myself at a weight that I can still do all my workouts, all my physical fitness activities, riding dirt bikes for hours at a time, boxing for hours and hours every week, CrossFit for hours every week. I can still go for my runs. The amount of energy I have is still through the roof. It's crazy. That is kind of find that interesting. I guess I always assumed that as I got older, it would be harder to control that stuff. But it's actually just been the opposite. It's been very much the opposite. Let me know if that's happening with you. DMs are open on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Brown Pod. Shoot me a message. Text me if you want. Not giving my number out here, but if you got it, you got it. Shoot me a text. You having the same successes and or failures that I'm having? I'd love to hear about it. Remember, it's all confidential. Unless you want me to discuss it, I won't discuss it. So I made a comment, I don't know, it's been a couple minutes ago. Sometimes I say this comment in jest because I do joke around a lot and I am very sarcastic. And I was a little apprehensive about about this topic. But I feel like it is important to talk about. Now, every once in a while, if you know me, if you spend time with me, you'll hear me make jokes like, "I'm gonna tell my therapist about this." "Oh, my therapist is gonna hear about this one." Well, I gotta be honest, I'm not joking. All right. Uh, and I know, like, you're thinking, "Oh God, this is gonna be some deep, heavy, emotional episode. We got to hear about all of his problems." I'm not going to tell you about my problems. That's not the point of this. I do feel like, however, you cannot solely focus on your physical fitness while ignoring your mental fitness. Okay. Your mental health is every bit as important as what we do for our bodies physically. And I'm not in therapy all year. I don't have therapy all the time. But there are times when I feel like, "Mm, my brain needs to maybe get an outside opinion from a professional on some things." And ultimately, it keeps me in a better place emotionally, for my all of my relationships, um, to include, my work relationships. Uh, it definitely helps me with my outlook on the future. Um, there are some decisions that sometimes getting a professional's point of view. Now they're not making decisions for me, but being able to talk through things and I can then draw my own conclusions. That's a big deal. So, like, look, I don't want to go completely off the deep end here with mental health, but I just kind of want to pound this point home. Don't neglect it, for one. And two, there's nothing wrong with being in therapy, especially, and I will say this, especially to a certain demographic of my listeners. I get these analytic, uh, I guess, little notifications. So it doesn't tell me who is subscribing, but it tells me what platform my content is being consumed at. And then it gives me age brackets. So honestly, I've had some teenagers listening to this show. And I got to be honest, man, being a teenager in the 90s is fucking night and day from being a teenager now. I could not imagine being a teenager in this day and age. Like, my hat is off to you kids. The world is an absolute shit show. And you guys are documenting everything on your phones. Like, that was not an option when I was a teenager. There were no cell phones. I knew one person who had a car phone, like the only car phone in Seaside, the only one. Everything we did was off the grid, you know? It was such an easier teenage experience. I'm not saying it was easy across the board, Like, being a teenager is still very difficult. I did not have to face a lot of the issues that you kids do today. If you ever feel like you need some therapy, don't ever let someone try to guilt you or shame you or talk you out of talking to someone or anyone about whatever issues, big or small, you may be experiencing. Here's the thing about issues, all right? Here's the thing about issues. Nobody else gets to dictate how important or how big or small they are to you, all right? Nobody gets to dictate that to you. You decide what's a big issue. You decide what's a small issue. You decide what's important, okay? So my hope is that, all teenagers would get some form of therapy at some point to deal with this crazy society that we live in. But I find that definitely as I get older, as my life experiences change, as I mature, you know, that whole maturing process that it doesn't stop just because our brains are fully formed at 25. You know, every year I'm maturing a little bit more. I think some would push back on that and say that I'm every bit as much of a child as I've ever been. But if we're having an honest conversation, I'm still maturing and I've come a very, very long way. I can go back 10 years. I'm a completely different person than what I was at that point. And 20 years ago, I probably would have punched myself in the face. I don't think I would have liked my 27-year-old me. Like I think I was kind of a dick, you know? Kind of a dick if I could be honest. So get some therapy. Don't be ashamed of it. I think we need to normalize talking more about it, honestly. There's nothing wrong with it, but it has this stigma. It has this stigma like there's something wrong with you, you know? And maybe younger people like, you guys could chime in on Twitter or X as you however you refer to it, or on Instagram at Jake Brown Pod. Uh, Is it stigmatized as much with the younger generation? I don't know. Like, how do you guys view therapy? Therapy, like when I was younger, I feel like was not viewed the same way as it is now. I feel like, especially for men, I feel like you were looked at as weak. You know, get your shit together. Don't be a fucking pussy, kind of thing. Um, and I don't know why. I have no idea why. I think it's probably the same people that say, you know, don't share your feelings or don't cry or, that kind of bullshit, which is exactly what that is. It's absolute bullshit. Keep all that stuff inside and let me know how it turns out. All right? Lock it all up. Lock it up, throw away the key, and then let me know how that turns out when you get in your 40s. It's coming out at some point and it's coming out in some way. I would much rather it be in a controlled environment where I can talk things out than having some emotional explosion on a spouse or my child or a friends or at work and then I get fired, you know. There's nothing weak. I'm going to say this again. There is nothing weak about going to therapy and getting your head right, okay? So that's all I wanted to say about that. Again, honestly, I would love to hear your guys' opinion on this one because I feel like, you know, the reputation of it has changed over the decades, but my generation, I don't think. I don't know if my generation has fully embraced therapy. I still feel like there are a lot of men and probably a handful of women who still view therapy as something that weak people need. And I don't think that could be further from the truth. I think honestly it takes one strong motherfucker to admit that they need to go to therapy and get some help for some issues that they're dealing with or trying to deal with. All right. So if that's you, Google's a beautiful tool. Do your research. And like I talked about a few episodes ago, just because you pick a therapist and go see a therapist, it doesn't mean that they're going to be the right fit for you. You know, you might have to try a couple out. You might mesh with one more than another. I'm very fortunate now. I have had some some bad ones in the past, uh, but fortunately, the last now two that I've had have both been amazing. And I mean, you guys are the ones reaping the benefits. Okay, my friends, my girlfriend, my coworkers, you guys are the ones reaping the benefits of me, you know, talking out the shit that's in my head. All right. It's only benefiting you guys because I'm happier. I'm in a better place emotionally. I'm better company to be around. All right. I'm going to shut the fuck up about that. So, since I am continuing with a little bit of yesterday's episode, uh, today I wanted to ask Bard who would win in a fight between a shark and a polar bear. Who do you think would win? I mean, on the surface, I feel like a polar bear could just like, for lack of a better term, bear hug a shark and like chew its face off. But have you seen how big great white sharks are? Like those things are a fucking school bus. They're enormous. Even as big as a polar bear is, I don't think they're I don't think they're getting their arms and legs fully around one of those things to hold it in place. Plus, I mean, they're fucking slippery. They're like they're like a 2,000-pound pickle with razor blade teeth. You can't just hold on to a giant pickle that's trying to eat you. So Bard said, well, determining the victor in a hypothetical fight between a shark and a polar bear depends on several factors. Hey, why's it got to be hypothetical? Polar bears are in water. I don't know how far north great white sharks go though. Like are there great white sharks way up in the Arctic? Do they cuz I know they're in cold water, like they're off the coast of Oregon and Washington. They're off the coast of Canada, but I don't know if they go that far north. Like that's really far north, okay? So it is possible that at some point throughout the history of Earth, some 4.8 to 5 billion years, a great white shark and a polar bear have done battle. Hey, did you know that sharks are older than trees? Did you know that? Sharks have been around longer than trees. Think how long trees have fucking been around. They've been around forever. Like my entire life, I've always seen trees. Okay, I'm not that old. They've been around a long time. Sharks were on this earth before trees. To me, I guess I kind of have a hard time wrapping my head around that one because I just feel like trees have been around as long as the earth has been. Nope. Sharks came here first. They've been kicking ass since before trees were falling on things. So Bard says we need to consider the environment. Where is this fight gonna take place? All right. Obviously, if this fight's on land, that shark is fucked. The shark is fucked for obvious reasons. Lieutenant Dan reasons. Shark ain't got no legs, okay? Shark ain't got no legs. He can't do anything. He can't avoid any giant paw, claw swipes. He can't defend himself. He's got flippers and giant teeth, and his tail's probably pretty strong, but he's gonna have a hard time rotating around enough to really get a good swipe, a good tail swipe on the polar bear. The polar bear on land is gonna be really agile. They can stand up on 2 legs, so he's got a height advantage. He's definitely got the reach advantage, because a bear has much longer legs than a shark does fins. So, the shark is gonna have a hard time, blocking those punches that are coming in. It's just gonna be taking claw after claw after claw to its head. Like, it's gonna get ugly on land real quick. The only saving grace being on land is that the shark can flop around a lot, and then maybe it would somehow accidentally get a leg near its mouth, and it could just bite its leg off really quick. Now, a three-legged polar bear that's bleeding out and in a lot of pain, oh, you're in trouble. Okay, now you're in trouble. There's probably a lot of arteries in there. You're gonna bleed out. You already have a whole bunch of adrenaline going through your body right now. So when that leg gets ripped off, oh, I give you 5 minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and that adrenaline's gonna start to wear off, and that bear's gonna bleed out, and then it's just a matter of, can that shark get back in the water, stay alive, claim victory? I give that, if I was betting, uh, 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 uh. I think the polar bear is still the favorite by quite a bit, but I would give the shark maybe, honestly, a 10% chance at winning. 10% tops. Okay. Chances are polar bear is going to win that fight on land. Now, if we move that fight to the water, oh, now things get interesting. All right. That shark is now agile. That shark is fast. The shark is powerful. Now the shark is in his element. Okay. That shark knows how to hunt in the water. The shark does not know how to hunt on land. The shark can't even really see on land, probably. But underwater, that shark can see everything. So it'd be very easy to dive down deep and then a sneak attack coming up. I think that would probably be his best tactic because the polar bear is only going to swim down so far. But what's the polar bear limited by? Lung capacity, right? And in that intense of a fight, oh man, that polar bear's blood is going to be boiling. The blood is going to be boiling, and it's going to have to surface probably much sooner than it normally would in a non-stress situation just to get oxygen. And that's when that shark is going to attack. It's going to bite him right in the nuts. It's going to get him right in the nuts, and it's going to rip one of his legs off, and it's going to drag that bear underwater. Fucking victory. Now, I think it's almost the same odds though, right? I mean, I think the polar bear is better in the water than the shark is on land. Yeah, can we agree with that? But I think that the shark is better in the water than the polar bear is better on land. I think that the shark would probably have about, I would say, an 85% chance of winning the fight in the water. Yeah? Those are good odds. I mean, if I was betting, I'd put $100 on the shark. But if I'm like a true gambling degenerate, like, you're not gonna make money betting the favorite. So, honestly, I'd probably put money on both of the dogs on that one. Definitely both the dogs are getting my money. That's where you make your money. You don't make your money betting the favorites. Okay. All right. Well, that's my show for today. Man, we really covered some ground, didn't we? Good episode. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope everyone gets outside. The sun is shining. Go for a walk, ride a bicycle, go to the gym, go do something outside. Get some vitamin D, and I will talk with you tomorrow.